Well, the Global 100 is the premier survey of anti-Semitic attitudes around the world. It was commissioned starting in 2014 by ADL. The Global 100 seeks to understand who may harbor anti-Semitic attitudes. It seeks to set a comparative baseline both between countries and over time to study the change in anti-Semitic attitudes. And again, it seeks to understand how anti-Semitic attitudes may differ in one place versus another.
Attitudes, as measured in the survey, especially when compared to the 2014 benchmark survey, enable us, governments, Jewish communities, and others to assess how national populations view Jews and what stereotypes are most prevalent.
The Global 100 was first conducted in 2014 with a survey of 102 countries and territories. The main difference between that survey and the current survey is that the current one was more focused and included 14 European countries plus Argentina, Brazil, Canada, and South Africa. All of the countries this round were countries that are home to significant Jewish populations. Well, some of the major findings of the survey include the continued prevalence of anti-Semitic attitudes. Across the 14 European countries surveyed, roughly 1 in 4 respondents to our survey agreed with a majority of the anti-Semitic stereotypes tested, meaning they agreed that a majority of those stereotypes were probably true. Anti-Semitic stereotypes were particularly common in Central and Eastern Europe, with 48% in Poland and 42% in Hungary agreeing with a majority of the stereotypes. And we saw increases in countries like Poland, Ukraine, and Russia, although there were also some countries where there were decreases, such as Italy and Austria. The survey showed that the most common stereotypes about Jews tend to differ by region. For example, in Central and Eastern Europe, it was most commonly believed that Jews tend to have too much power in the business world or in financial markets. And in contrast, in Western Europe, the most commonly held stereotype was that Jews are politically disloyal, that they are more loyal to Israel than the country that they live in. And that stereotype was agreed with by more than 40% in many of the Western European countries. Some of the other notable findings included that in many of these countries, people believe that Jews talk too much about what happened to them in the Holocaust. In 10 of the 18 countries that we surveyed, more than 40% believed that Jews talked too much about what happened to them in the Holocaust. In countries like Poland, that number increased from 61% in 2015 to 74% in the current survey.
Negative attitudes towards Jews are one part of ADL's overall assessment of levels of anti-Semitism in a country. ADL also considers the number and nature of anti-Semitic incidents annually, polls of Jewish communities about their experiences of anti-Semitism in their communities, government policies, and other factors. ADL is the world's leading organization monitoring, analyzing, and combating anti-Semitism. Through various methods, we endeavor to keep track of anti-Semitic trends around the world. This data enables policymakers and other stakeholders, like ADL, to better target educational practices and other means to address intolerance.